cute picture you took with the Namazu.
Thank you. Oh, now the Discord isn't working again.
Oh no.
It was. It showed me, and now it's not showing either of us. I'll fix it.
Discord overlay, please.
Hello, Mara.
Good evening.
Hi, Tiv.
Hello, hello. How are you guys today?
Doing okay.
I'm good.
I'm trying to fix this Discord thing.
What's happening with Discord?
But it showed me, and then Raps joined the channel, and then there's not showing anybody.
I broke the Discord overlay. Simply by joining Discord, it was like, nah, I'm out.
No, oh shit, it's Rhapsody. Better fuck off.
They know Aunt Flo's in town.
Oh my god, Rhapsody.
It's time to get out of Dodge. Rhapsody's in the mood.
Girl, I don't need a flowchart of your like cycle. But I'm not gonna laminate it and be like I shouldn't talk to her on these days.
No, don't worry. I'll tell you when not to talk to me. I'll be like, guys, I need you to keep 10 feet away at all times. I cannot be responsible for any butt hurt that I cause this.
Wait, isn't that the constant mood in the morning before your coffee?
Well, I don't drink coffee, so.
Oh, your tea. I'm sorry.
Well, there's your first problem. Alright, I need to fix this. Ooh. I know what I'm doing, guys.
I believe.
Technical professor, holy shit, professional.
Are you a professor of Discord?
Excuse me, I'm the professor of Discord. I have a degree in voice chat.
You know, I wouldn't doubt it if there's gonna be college courses like that one day.
Wait.
But hey, even at this point, all people use Discord too. Even my father started looking into Discord.
Oh, you say, but I know lots of people on Facebook who refuse to use Discord. Yeah.
Okay, so but then you have to remember how many people, like what's the usual age for people on Facebook?
These are my peers, I would think. I'm not that old.
I mean, you know, the usual clients that use Facebook at least. But my father is like 45, so.
Wow. Youngin.
He's young. I mean, I'm young myself. So.
Hi, Amy.
Welcome, Amy.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to mess with this thing. I don't know. It's still, has it popped up? I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Not on my stream either. No one's gonna know who's talking at this point.
That's
oh
fine.
My goodness, they won't know who it is.
Okay, well, you know, I'll mess with it during stream. But for now, let me just get the topic rolling. But we're going to be discussing, starting out, how to build and create your portfolio. You know, ways to do it. I think there's a lot of interesting ways you can do it, and possibly maybe a better way than I see some people doing it, and we can give pointers. And also, you know, just growing as a designer, ways what to do, our own experiences with clients, you know, good or bad. And we're also going to be looking at a house today on Genova, and I can link the address. But also, I'm going to be messing with the Discord too. So take it away, guys.
Well, so what prompted us to want to talk about this week is that there are a lot of people building portfolios and wanting to start out as commissionable designers. And a lot of people are going the route of making a private Discord to house your portfolio, which, you know, I don't know that a lot of people know this, but I made one. Like, I feel like I was probably maybe one of the first people to make a private Discord
I would
or
even
use
say
my
the
Discord
first.
as a portfolio.
Yeah, I remember that because when I first joined FD, like that was months ago, there was no one around who had like their own Discord, and you
A lot
had
of people use like Tumblr and
Yeah.
gosh, I mean, what else? What else did people even use at that point besides Tumblr
I
for like
saw
a portfolio?
some people use Housing Snap because it's like a very easy and immediate overview, and it's very structured too.
Yeah.
But does it have a way of like I never use Housing Snap. I know we've talked about this. Does it have a way of like organizing everything
Yes.
by user at least?
Yes.
Yes.
And you
Okay.
can search for user if you know their name, so it's very easy.
Mm.
I think one of the downsides with the Discord is you have to still use. Well, I guess you can use the Discord. Well, you use an Imgur album, don't you?
I use what? I'm sorry.
Like an Imgur? Isn't that what it's called? Imgur?
Oh, Imager.
Wait, is that called Imager?
There's a lot of debate.
Okay, good. I want to know
do
if
you
my
say
entire
GIF
life
or
was
GIF?
a lie. GIF.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. GIF. Thank you. So anyway, Imager. I used Imager before, but I didn't like it because it's just not very easy to access the different like albums and stuff unless you have like an exact link.
Yeah.
And so I started using Discord because it seemed to me within my circles like everyone uses it. It's free. It's convenient because again, everyone who's a gamer seems to use it. I have since been proven wrong on that fact because a lot of people who do housing apparently don't use Discord, as we found out from the Facebook groups. But I thought it was, I mean, those are my big points. It's accessible, it's easy to organize, and it's free. Those were my big points. But it's kind of, it gets bloated in my server
Yeah.
list when I feel like I'm wanting to like join everyone's Discord and support, you know, all these up and coming designers, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have too many servers. I don't know what all these servers are.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. So I think this was the main issue I saw when I first saw. I know that a lot of people looked at your Discord and saw that you are doing it as a portfolio because you had different things. You had like your little emotes, you had your art that you post, you had like real life pictures, right? So it was your own private thing, and the portfolio was something like a bonus. So we all know how you love to sort things, right? So
Oh,
you
wow.
had like your cute little icons
Bust
there and
over
stuff
me.
like that. I mean, it works. It looks great. But the thing here is that if you see someone who's like relatively popular and they do it as a bonus, they don't make a Discord solely for the purpose of having a portfolio which is accessible to someone. As you guys said, a lot of people who do housing, especially, I don't know, a single Japanese person, for example, who uses Discord. I only communicated with them via Twitter, and I asked some if they have Discord, and they never said anything to that. Sometimes they even ignored or ask what Discord even is.
Sure, because
so-
when you don't recognize a term, it just kind of, you gloss over it almost.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe they just think it was lost in the translation or something like that, or something was wrong. So, or they translated the whole sentence and the word Discord translated into Japanese, for example. I tried to
instead of
type it
actually
out.
being the actual term.
Yeah, exactly. So, they don't use it a lot. So you already, if you are using Discord for your portfolio, you already alienating an entire group of people who are not that familiar with housing step, either due to, let's just say, age on Facebook, for example, or just an entire country because it's just not used to this Western form of communication between inside a community, right? The next thing, which I personally think you also touched on, Rhapsody, is the accessibility. Having a link inside a portfolio overview where you explain what your prices are, and you have a simple link which leads you to a nice overview of pictures and stuff like that. You just, if you are just interested in commissioning someone and you are curious how their work is like, the first thing that you want to see is what they've done before. You're not even gonna read the text. You will see their images immediately. This is how I at least go about it.
Yeah.
And if I have to use, if you let's say like this, I'm a media designer, right? And if you use 2 clicks instead of 1 to get to something that you want to see, that's already alienating half of your entire user base.
Sure, I definitely see what you're saying. So like the fact that you can't just go to like a main page and see, this is my work that I'm most proud of, like across like a big banner or something. That is what you would look for as someone who's looking to, not necessarily monetize or brand, or you want that to be the first thing your client sees, not you're met with a list of houses and you're like, well, let me randomly click one and hope it's good.
It's the same thing.
That's not what the client wants to do, and that's not gonna convince them that you're the designer for them.
And even in Discord, sorry, Ashen, did you want to say something?
Well, I was gonna say I recently changed my entire portfolio online to do exactly what Div said, because I was looking at it, and it's not like I'm taking commissions at the moment. Sorry, guys, but I was looking at my portfolio, and I was like, nobody's gonna know who these people are just off of a text link. So I changed everything.
Did we lose her?
Oh, can you hear me?
I thought I had to disconnect. I was like, I already accepted that.
I was looking at my portfolio and...
Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah, we lost you.
Oh, it must be Discord. But yeah, I was looking at my portfolio, and it was all text links, like you said. Nobody wants to click that. So I made images, and I started just going really screenshot heavy with my portfolio. I think it's made a huge difference, and I'm gonna shout out my portfolio, ourashbride.tumblr.com. But yeah,
that shameless plug right in there. It's Our Ashen Bride.
I think Tumblr is a very good way to express to put up a portfolio, because this is what I do personally too. Because it's so much easier to, like, Tumblr has this really nice overview, and it's giving you the option to use CSS to customize your entire theme, so you can see everything at once. And what I wanted to say earlier is to, when, let's say you have an online shop and you want clients, so you want people to buy something, right? You are not gonna have a landing page where you have an entire list with just text saying what you are trying to buy. You need the pictures, you need what's trending, something like that, right? You need to show it immediately to the customer what they want, what they came for, basically. And a great example, if you join a Discord, it's not going to be an immediate wall of pictures like in a link for Tumblr, for example.
It's not.
You still have
not
to
controllable, really. What you?
Yeah, it's not controllable.
Yeah,
you have to click through the chats too.
I think with Discord is you have to already kind of establish and know the person to then follow the work.
Yes. If you are well known, for example, it's gonna work out great. Like, imagine you have a mass amount of followers on Twitter, or you are known from another Discord, right? And you post, okay guys, I made a Discord link so I can organize my stuff. I won't say making a Discord solely for commission work or solely for references is necessary. If you want to go for it, sure. But how many people are gonna join it? If they want to support you, you kind of asking them to make space in their Discord list. And from my personal experience, I have so many Discord servers I'm on just for emails, for example, and they're all the way down.
Yes.
And if it's commission work, you're gonna post in the Discord maybe, let's say once a month, depends how fast you work, right?
Once a week, once every 2 weeks. Yeah, it depends on what your style is, how quickly you get through it.
Yeah, perfectly. This is what I mean. And a person with an almost, I don't want to say dead server, is not going to have you all the way up on their sidebar in Discord, for example. It's not an efficient way to grow your client base using a Discord as your primary portfolio.
No.
Yeah, I think Discord is a good way to sort your personal work and have an overview always ready for yourself. I personally use a Discord server just for myself, so I can sort references for characters, maybe some RP excerpts and stuff like that. This is all that is important for me. But do you really want to establish a community on that? Because it's more something if you already have one, either like that, or if it's just for yourself, but nothing to grow something on.
You know,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, you make a great point in mentioning community. I think Discords lack a community. You need to have social media to share your work. You
Yes.
need Twitter, you need a Tumblr, you need a Facebook.
Well, as you're saying, well, you literally need exposure in order
Yeah.
to grow a client base, and
Mhm.
exposure is gained in this, whatever we want to call it, this field, by cross-posting your work to multiple social media sites. We're talking Housing Snap, we're talking Tumblr, we're talking Twitter, we're talking, what else do we even use? Like, I mean, multiple Discords. Like, there's the balance housing.
Yeah.
Isn't that a thing? And then there's FD, and there's I mean, I honestly don't know of any more because I'm a hermit. Like, the whole reason I have just a Discord for my portfolio is because I'm a hermit and I don't want people to find me, and I just wanted to organize it all in one spot.
Yeah.
I didn't want to put myself out there. Literally, don't follow my example because that's not what you want to do.
It's basically, Discord is very internal. Like, it's not like you can share a housing Discord, like, oh, visit this housing Discord, this is amazing, instead of just sharing pictures immediately, like we are used to. Especially if you're using Tumblr or Twitter and you have like a thread or you have an entire category with tags that you use, everything inside of that can be immediately shared, and this is what you will need if you want to grow your client base, basically, or as a commissioner, of course, as someone who works for with commissions. But also the other thing about what I want to say is the invitational. No, sorry, never mind. I already messed it up.
Well,
what are you trying to make though? The point is still valid, right?
yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So, like, I think it's pretty obvious that we're all pretty much in agreement that, like, if you want more clients, if you're trying to grow yourself as a designer and a brand, you know, someone that people look at a housing screenshot and they say, wow, that's clearly so-and-so. You know, if that's what you're wanting to do, you need exposure, and a Discord server as your portfolio is not good exposure. It's a great place to be a screenshot dump because it's free, it's easily organizable, you can just throw pictures in there. You know, it's great, but it's not a good portfolio. You need to come up with a better... I think the only really two good options are Tumblr and Housing Snap for
Twitter.
You know, well, because Twitter's exposure, but Twitter's not where you showcase.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
The-
especially because of image
house.
quality.
The quality
Yeah.
is crap. Yeah. You know, honestly, I'm big on Tumblr, and I know people are gonna shit on it, like, Tumblr, but
Well, they made so many of those like awful changes to how things are searched and like divs basically on a blacklist or something.
Not
for
anymore.
housing because he posts too much about how
Yeah. Okay.
They
We
fix
can.
that?
How about we gather some pros and cons so people can understand why exactly we would
Sure.
recommend certain things. Okay. So what do we have? Like I have many cons for Twitter, for example. Like, first of all, just like Amara just said, we have only 4 pictures, and capturing an entire house, especially depending on the size, in 4 pictures is going to be extremely difficult.
right.
I know that Twitter announced that they want to bump up the image quality, but nothing has been done in 2 years since they announced that. So the image quality
Where's
is
the result?
basically the image quality is extremely shit if the picture isn't very small. Because if it's small, they're gonna keep the original bit
They
size.
convert all of them to JPEGs, don't they?
yes.
If it's small enough, it's gonna stay PNG. But I mean, it's gonna stay JPEG. It's
JPEG.
very weird. Is it just called JPEG? Holy shit.
Yeah, that's so easy.
And but it's still like the same bit size, so it doesn't reduce in quality for some reason. And of course, if you want to save a picture, you're just gonna click save picture, and you're gonna leave it. You're not even gonna look, but you can't even open it in your Explorer. That's the worst part about Twitter. If you download a picture, you need to convert it to PNG. It's extra work. And
Really?
yeah, and you can't tag it.
Well, I just right click, even regardless of the size, and I can still get it without going into the actual post, and that way I can just pull it out.
Yeah, basically. And the other thing is that the tags in Twitter are weird, and you can't look on, like, you can't go to a profile and look for a specific tag on that profile. That's not a thing. So unlike Tumblr, that's exactly what Tumblr does. So what Tumblr has, it has great image quality. You can add lots of text. You don't have any limits in text you can add to that. So if you have a story behind the house, go for it, right? You can add as many pictures as you want.
Wait,
something.
Before we jump into Tumblr, though, we need to go back to Twitter and why it's okay to use.
Okay, let's go. As a portfolio or in general? That's the main point here.
I think Twitter is absolutely essential for housing at this point, but not as a primary portfolio.
No.
It's essential for exposure, for getting your 4 pictures, your 4 favorite pictures of the house out there, and the address, and then a link to your actual portfolio to the whole house, so that people can go there. And that's networking. That's building your client base. That's what you need to do.
I do want to add, you can put more pictures in the comments that people will like, but that's more for savvy people, because most people don't look at the comments.
That's the thing, is that the most interaction comes from the first post.
Exactly, I was about to say, but it's the same thing as I mentioned before. If you only click once, if at all, on Twitter especially, because you usually just scroll through a timeline sometimes and you only see the retweet, for example, and you have to click on something and then scroll down. People are lazy. This is so easily explained, actually. They're just lazy and they just want to see it immediately and like and retweet it, for example.
Instant gratification.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a word?
Yes, that's what today's advertising and like social media, all that stuff is all about. Instant gratification. You have to take into account that human nature is just looking for a quick hit of entertainment. They're not looking for an in-depth generally, right? Generally, they're not looking for an in-depth like exploration of your entire portfolio.
Yeah, it depends really on the topic. And for example, if you visit and you have really nice comments, like we have with BJ, for example, where he just comments like very nice stuff. It's just nice to look at, and it gives you a lot of exposure too. Of course, if a Japanese designer retweets you, but for other posts, like let's say outside of housing, people read through stuff like that, like RP prompts or headcanon shit like that. And I personally find myself to do that a lot. But with housing, it's the exact opposite. It's just the immediate gradation, you said, was it?
Instant gratification, yes. And well, I think it's because it's housing. It's purely a visual media, I guess. Like you're not looking to read stuff because it's a visual. What am I trying to say? It's literally just visual. You just want to see the pictures.
The pretty
Show
pictures.
me the pretty picture.
Okay, so Twitter, I would say for the most part, you just want to use it for exposure, interaction, something fun that you can, do fast, and then have more of a detailed.
And as a tip, since we're like trying to tell you how to grow and promote yourself as a designer, make sure you use the right tags. You can't just tag anything. The hashtags, make sure you're using the Japanese FFXIV housing tag. So FF14 and then, the Japanese term for housing. We'll link it. Hold on, let me find it. Yeah. But using that tag is what's going to get you that, and you can use the English tags too, but those are what is going to get you exposure. That's what people will, search that to go see housing stuff.
Yeah, but that's the tag. The Japanese housing tag is the most used even by the NA designers at this point. There's the FFXIV housing tag, but that's like dead. So no one uses that a lot, for example. And I just check it daily on latest too, because sometimes you see people who are like completely, like they're complete underdogs. No one knows them, but they built amazing stuff. Like, what was her name again? Do you guys remember this very small but very detailed builds? I forgot the name of her.
Tomato?
Yeah, Tomato. She was like, she had no followers at all, and I just found her from like just going through the tag, and she blew up. She blew up like big time.
Yeah,
I think
she's very good.
From exposure,
Yeah.
not like, nah, she was mad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just clarifying, y'all.
But yeah, this is what I mean. Just using the right tags, and please, if you are using the housing tag for screenshots, please check all of your tags beforehand.
Oh, you know
Make
what?
sure you're using the housing tag for housing screenshots. Do
Yes.
not show me a selfie of your cat girl under that tag. So help me, I will find you and I will shove your face into a couch.
it's
I don't want.
This is housing.
Yeah.
And luckily, people abusing the tag, which I'm pretty sure they were abusing it. Don't give me any crap. They didn't know. Like, yeah, okay.
There has been this one case of this one person who did this on purpose, and when people called them out, they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna use it on random stuff now, just to trigger you guys."
Yeah.
And in the end, their account was
And that was on,
deleted.
that person was on my server. It's so embarrassing.
Oh really?
No. But yes, so those are some tips from, Div is an actual, he does like graphic design, media design. He's telling you this is how you draw people in. I actually do social media for my job. I do social media management for small businesses. I'm telling you, use the tags properly, use Twitter to promote yourself and get exposure to your houses. Use it as think of it like a sneak peek of your best pictures from that house, and then provide a link to the full thing, to your actual, whatever you want to call your homepage. And so this is what I wanted to throw in there actually earlier, is that I completely forgot, when we're talking about Housing Snap, Tumblr, Discord, you can also have the option of having your own website.
Yes.
And that, I think, would be the #1 ideal solution.
Same.
But it's not always that easy, and
Well,
it's not necessarily
ironically-
free if you want to do it right.
Ironically enough, as a media designer, I did a lot of websites these days, right? And currently, I'm working on my own portfolio as a website, actually. You have different things, like there are a lot of free things, like you have WordPress. You can just
Right.
look into HTML yourself, and you can look into how to work with CSS and stuff like that, right? But there's also a lot of very easy toolkits, like little, what are they called? Like this little building block sites, similar
Wix?
to WordPress. Yeah, basically. And I forgot the name of mine already, which I use, because right now I don't want to. You just don't want all the trouble with hosting a server and stuff like that for something small as a portfolio.
Right.
You just want a single landing page, and there are a lot of different website tools who can give you that experience, and sometimes they're super easily accessible. You just have to register. Like it's not a fucking sponsor or something, but WordPress is very easy to handle, and I suggest.
I also use WordPress for my business,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's super easy. The only issue is if you want like a custom domain name, you do have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, but you don't really need it. If you just want a landing page with pictures and a gallery with like image boxes popping up or light boxes, that's gonna be done. You have that option. So just just look into the options you have. And
If you're that serious, yes.
Yeah, if
Well,
you're that serious.
the thing is, like, Japanese users, they just use websites. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah,
And they're wonderful. I love them.
Yeah.
I
Some of them are.
personally don't think that I have that kind of I'm not that invested in building my brand, which is why, again, I just use a Discord, because I don't want people to find me, and if people want to see my work, I'm gonna make it hard for them to find it, because I'll just give them a link to my Discord and say, have at it. That's just me, though.
Similar. I know what you mean, because I really hold off to making a website. I just use my Tumblr because it's so easy to use. I can immediately just smack those pictures into it, and I can add some tags so people can easily find it. And I was blocked earlier this year because I posted so much housing stuff for some reason. Like Tumblr thought I was a bot, but that was when the entire apocalypse happened there in January. So these days
So have
it's
they
very.
come off of that?
Oh yeah, I checked it.
apocalypse?
I mean, it's still shit.
Pornhub
The
buy them?
website is. I mean, once Pornhub buys them officially, hopefully.
I was gonna say, I thought things would go back to being, actually usable if Pornhub actually bought it. And this is not
they have
me
to-
endorsing porn, y'all. I just know Pornhub loves to make like meme stances on this stuff. So
It's because they have a very complicated spaghetti code that
Right.
you would rework that from the ground up, and
Yeah.
Tumblr really doesn't want that.
Yeah, their
But-
their algorithm and their search engine still needs working.
Yeah. I remember when I had the Guardian built, it was just not shown, and in the entire housing tag, and I was blocked from the housing tag for a while. But I think they fixed it because the last few builds work perfectly fine for me, for example.
No,
that's good.
well, see, the thing is, I've posted, my stuff still hasn't shown up sometimes. It's like pick or
Okay,
choose.
I take it back. Never mind.
Yeah.
So right now we're dealing with the issue that Tumblr has decided to go all
Yeah, that's a
crazy
good.
like on their stuff. So that even though Tumblr's always been a great platform, it is currently going through some growing pains.
I mean, if you have
Yeah,
a link,
take that
if you have a link to a portfolio, it doesn't fucking matter to you anyways. It's just as WordPress. You can just look at, there are free themes you can use for your blog on Tumblr, for example, and you can always customize it if you're looking to CSS and HTML and stuff like that. So if you are interested in that, might as well learn a new skill. Actually, that's actually something that's interesting.
I've had this Tumblr for a long time, and when I first made it, I didn't make it just for like social media. I just needed a place that was easy for me to just put pictures. But I've had it for so long, 2 years now, I guess. And
Oh wow.
and I made whenever I started designing, and then I made a Twitter in December because that's when Tumblr's burning down, and so
Yeah.
I made a Twitter, and I'll say I actually like Twitter in the fact that when I'm on my Tumblr, there have been so many times I've wanted to reblog or just share things, but I can't because it's my portfolio. I have to keep it just my work. There were times I shared other people's works, and someone would commission me, and they're like, "I want you to do this," and they would link it to me, and it wasn't my work. It was someone else's, and I'm just like, where'd you find that? I can do that. And they said, it was on your Tumblr, didn't you do it? And then I started thinking, I can't reblog anymore. But on Twitter, I can be more open and, sociable.
But that's the issue with the. How many times does this happen? Because usually it's very visible if something is a retweet or a post.
That's what
usually.
I thought too. And I was talking. This happened twice, and I was talking both times. I was like, "Can't you see that there's a name and stuff like that?" But they didn't understand the Tumblr format at all. So just from a layperson, they couldn't tell the difference.
So they basically see it as a blog, they saw it as a portfolio.
Yes.
Well, it's a bit weird because I was thinking back then to do the same, because I started using Tumblr as just, I don't know, just what I'm interested in, what I'm gonna follow and retweet and reblog, because I want to support the content creators on that website. What I think is funny will just be retweeted. I never like and not retweet things. I just do both, because I actually do the same for Twitter nowadays too. Because I just think that supporting, especially housing people, is very important, because if you like their stuff, why not just share it?
Yeah.
There you have nothing to. In this case, of course, as you said, people thought that you built it, but that's because maybe those two people weren't just familiar to it. But people who usually browse Tumblr will understand it, and just seeing that you support another, I would just say artists too for housing. We mentioned this many times, how interior design is also some form of art.
Yeah.
And if you just want to support your co-workers, basically, like I did back then with you when I still had the Tumblr following, but you were like all the way down, and you just posted whatever you wanted, right?
Yeah, I remember you reblogged me, and it was a huge boost.
Yeah, it was a huge boost, and this is we put so much we emphasize this so much that you really have to support other people's work, because this is what it's gonna get them motivated to do even better stuff. Because if you see potential, why not improve it? Why not improve the chances, especially if you yourself have a large following, right?
Yeah, and I've been debating it too, because I do want. I mean, obviously, I love supporting other designers. Like, I'm all about rah that, and I like it for my Twitter. And I've been really thinking, should I just do it on Tumblr? Because yeah, I'll like I like every single.
Oh, you cut off, Ashen.
Oh, it must be my mic today. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you again.
Okay, well, like the thing is, like I will heart and I'll like everything in the housing tag on Tumblr, but I don't relog it. And maybe I should change my methods, but then again, I don't want it to be confusing when people look at my portfolio, you know?
Yeah, I get your standpoint.
I think the way people handled that before with Tumblr was just that they had 2 different Tumblrs, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I must admit, I saw this also a lot for Twitter and actually Facebook. I know that you guys mentioned how many people have housing profiles just on Facebook. I mean, don't you guys either too, right? You both have housing Facebook profiles, right?
Yeah.
Well, like for my character, which I actually just got rid of because I'm so done with Facebook. I'm not that old yet. Okay?
Understandable, to be honest. But it's basically, it's weird. I just like to have everything in one single place. And if people don't want to follow me, sure, go for it. I don't care about anything. You don't have to follow me for housing specifically. And if you do, please don't follow me, because I'm not only gonna limit myself to sharing things that I want to share, but this always depends on the person, really, because I spam my Facebook with my Facebook never, holy shit. I always spam my Twitter with like so much Dark Knight Frey content, and people who follow me for housing, for example, they probably think like, what the fuck is he even talking about, because most of the people aren't into RP or lore in the game, because I'm a huge fan for the lore, and sometimes I think I annoy people, but then again, it's my Twitter. Why would I care? It's my blog, my Twitter. But that's because I don't seek out to build up a community around myself as a person who builds houses. I just do shit I like. I just do it. But if you are looking into getting into that scene where you want to get commissions from Twitter and stuff like that, it would be advisable to make a custom Twitter for that, in my opinion. With the right
that it doesn't like you've been saying, it doesn't get clogged with other stuff, so you can just have your own stuff showing there. So we know that Twitter is the like
exposure tool.
I don't know what you want to call it, the bulletin board of housing. Like that's where you put your stuff. And so we haven't talked about housing snaps so much, which is one that I don't use, so y'all are gonna have to talk about it more. I know one of the reasons I never have posted anything on it is because it seems kind of difficult to get into because it's purely in Japanese.
Yeah, so the way I think it's a bit of a weird situation with housing snap, because you have to translate your website into English or the language that they speak, and sometimes it can get really confusing because some words they just don't make any sense, right?
Sure, they don't quite translate well.
Exactly, because sometimes the Chrome or whatever browser you're using is just not perfectly made for that. And the main thing why people outside of Japan might not use Tumblr a lot, Housing Snap a lot, is because in the end, at the very bottom, you are forced to enter one of the furniture pieces, and it has to be a Japanese name. So you will have to go outside of the box, and you have to go into the lodestone, look for an item that you used in that build, translate the lodestone through the actual option into Japanese, copy paste the name, copy it into Housing Snap, and post it.
And oh, sorry, my dog's barking. I was going to say, and it also seems like a lot of the oh my goodness, Jesse.
Your dog's called Jessie. Holy shit.
I don't know what she's mad at. Anyway, oh my god. It
Let's
seems like a lot of the big name Japanese designers don't even post on there anymore.
Yeah, that's what I noticed too. In the beginning, they really did build their reputation based on Housing Snap, even, I would say. Like Nora's builds were, back in the day, like the first builds were so popular in Housing Snap, but he moved onto Twitter and never used Housing Snap since. Because it's unlike Twitter, you can't share something. you can only like it, but people never use the like option on Housing Snap anyways, like no one bothers. Like, of course, the numbers are totally different. Even though it's very nicely organized, it's always the latest build, you always have a nice preview picture. It should work, but it doesn't. This is the weird thing about Housing Snap, which I can't quite explain, honestly. But I personally like posting there because it's a very nice overview with floors and stuff like that. And a lot of people who start out with housing. Oh yeah, your mic probably died, Ash. The thing that people Google is Final Fantasy housing, and they're gonna land on Housing Snap, or people will recommend Housing Snap. And for people who start out, Housing Snap is a very easily accessible resource, unlike the text on Twitter.
Well, because there are just so many pictures to see, and that's what you,
Yeah.
like, when you're first starting out, that's what you want to see. You just want to be oversaturated with a ton of screenshots, because you're like, I need inspiration. I have no idea how to fill this space that I just bought. What do I put in it? And that's where you, like, that's where Housing Snap is amazing, because there's just so many, and you can, like, you see, oh, this one has good colors, I want to look in here, or oh, this has like a neat design, I kind of want to look at this one. It's a great layout, and it honestly, I wish there were something similar to it that was a little bit more streamlined for, I don't know, non-Japanese speakers.
Yeah,
honestly, someone come up with that. Can someone make that for me, please?
To be honest, I think an English Housing Snap would pretty much save Housing Snap.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest here, because it just gives us a translation option. I think your mic is back, Ashen. Just lit up green. I mean, it's
has
green.
Ashen been talking?
No, yeah, she tried to, and her microphone, like her picture in Discord, says that she's talking.
Aww.
It says that you're talking, but we can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Gotta love Discord. Or her mic in this case, maybe even.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, I would heckin' love an English Housing Snap. That would be, like, everyone would use it. Everyone. There would be no exceptions at that point. Like, I am, like, fairly confident that that would just be the go-to place for all, you know, probably all EU and NA housing.
It wouldn't be that hard if I think about it now. It's just simple variables translated. Like, there's nothing that has to be checked or, like, confirmed. Like, usually on Asian sites you have, like, this identity confirmation. You know what I mean? And Housing Snap doesn't have that. It's extremely easily accessible if you just translate it. I could look into that. It would be easy, but as I said, Housing Snap and I think Mirapre are both by the same Japanese creator, and I doubt that they speak English very well. I know that English is very hard for Japanese people. We've experienced it firsthand.
Not even.
They have, like, I think they learn Japanese, German, and I don't know what third. I think the third language is English, but the second one is German, as far as I know.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, people like.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you know how the Japanese people are with the Germans.
Well, yeah, like, but I didn't actually know that was a secondary. Like, I know most of my Chinese relatives learn English as, you know, they're, like, in school.
I think these days it's much more common, because back then, like, my parents, my Russian parents, my German friends' parents, their English is completely shit, because the only way they could have learned it is through the school, because they had no easily accessible internet, and they couldn't just learn it right away like we did. We learned from video games, we learned from watching animes. I watched a lot of cassette tapes with animes of Sailor Moon with German or English subs. And and so this is how I slowly started to learn English. But in the future, I think the next generation, like, everyone's gonna speak English. Like, there's not gonna be an exception wherever you live in the world. Everyone's gonna be that connected.
I mean, I don't disagree. I think that it probably will be a pretty safe universal bet, but I also see that a lot of countries are picking up Asian languages in schools, as options.
Oh,
It's
really?
just
Because
it's just a lot more. Yeah, I mean, Chinese is so. Here is a little like info on America, I guess. Typically, they would offer French and Spanish in schools because we have Canada to the north that has a French-speaking population in parts, and we have Mexico to the south. Those are our two national borders, and so French and Spanish were very big. You know, sometimes some places would have German. It was not a normal like public school thing, but some places would. But Chinese is being offered in public schools now as a second language option, as a foreign language option. So I mean, those things they're growing. Like the globalization is definitely happening. It's obvious to us because we talk to a lot of Korean and Japanese players all the time because housing is what brings us together, but it really is happening all over.
also, yeah, what I wanted to say also regarding if you are a person who's looking into commissions, I noticed that the Japanese community, they are not big fans of commissions.
Yeah, that was so interesting, right?
Yeah, so when we talked to, like, we had a few Japanese people over, and we were a lot over at Japanese people's houses too, and they mentioned how they don't do commissions. They just play on servers where the pods are basically like thrown towards you because no one plays on them, and they just get all of the stuff themselves. Like, they just get alts to buy houses there because having commissions, I think BJ mentioned this too, only limits him, right? He said that?
Yeah, I mean his words were that it wouldn't be fun anymore if
Oh,
he was
yeah.
doing a commission for another person. He
Mhm.
likes building. I mean, we all know BJ is famous for the medium house one floor build up on the top
Yeah.
floor. Where you walk in and you just see like some lofted walls up in the air and you're like, huh, what's going on? And you walk upstairs and you're like, oh my goodness, what is this? Yeah, it's because he builds purely for the joy of building. It's not because he's, you know, trying to make gil. It's not because he's trying to build a brand necessarily, although he clearly has one. He is just doing it because that's what he finds fun. And that's, to me, the purest form of art, essentially. You know what I mean?
I must totally agree with that because from personal experience, I can understand why he says that it takes away the fun aspect of building. Because if you are doing something that you like, you are gonna finish a house in a few days. But we all experience, like all of us here experienced commissions where we drag it along for months because it's not that we don't enjoy them, but the options that are given to us by the person who commissioned the house are just so limited sometimes, even to a ridiculous level, I must say. Where you go into it very motivated, but adjusting so much to another person's desire is just gonna block you. It's just gonna block you from your own creativity.
Yeah.
And I just really hate that feeling. This is why I think all of us here, really don't like doing commissions anymore. Yeah, the three of us, we really don't enjoy commissions anymore because we personally just don't want to see it as a money source. I know that some people are looking at it as a side job, maybe.
Some people look at it that way. I think the feeling that I get from a lot of the up and coming designers is that they don't necessarily have the means to always be redecorating, and they don't have the means to always have another house to, like, their friends don't always have houses for them to decorate, and so they're using commissions as a way to grow their own style and like have somewhere else to just keep practicing, keep building. You know, you're always doing, and that's how they, I think, are. My perception is that that's how they're viewing commissions, is another place to build, another place to learn, something else to experience with, or experiment with, excuse me.
Yeah, okay, that's a very valid and good point in my opinion, because I personally can say that I grew from commissions I didn't do for money, but someone asked me to if I can help out, and then I just suggested, hey, can you tell me about this character. Maybe I can help out more. Maybe I can even do this completely for you because I enjoyed it. But as you said, people don't have the means to do all that stuff. I don't personally have. I have like maybe like 70 mil, but I don't want to dump all of it into housing. I'm very fucking lazy. So if I have a house, it feels bad to tear it down, and like I feel bad for it. I just put so much work into it, and tearing it down just feels extremely bad. And also,
yeah, you feel attached to it.
Yeah, I feel attached to it, especially if you take screenshots in it or it has a meaning. Also, my retainers are a bit full of items, so I can't always tear down pics. You know.
See, I mean, when I was learning, you know, all of, you know, last year, whatever, I tore down my house almost every week. I was actually just talking about this with one of my FC mates. I was like, you remember, right, Bob? Like, I was like, come look at my new house, like, every single week. And you were like, another one? It's still the same house. Like, no, I made changes. Like, I grew from that. But I did have a lot of friends with houses who wanted me to come decorate for them, so I was able to learn and grow that way. But I think that a lot of people find enjoyment in designing, but don't necessarily want to take the typical Asian grind on, which is leveling your crafters and your gatherers and becoming self-sufficient, being able to build all your own furniture so you don't have to buy it off the market board. One, not everyone enjoys that, even though I do. I try to impart that on people all the time. Like, it's not that bad. No, if they don't like it, they don't like it. I mean, I'm not calling myself a Chinese gold farmer, but but I definitely do not mind the money grind. Yeah, what up? Ni hao, y'all. As my husband likes to say, ni hao, y'all doing?
Oh my god, that's holy shit. Ni hao, y'all.
So, like, it's just different personalities, different people like different things, and so I totally understand why someone would rather take on a commission and take on the challenge of building to suit their clients' needs. Whereas for me, I'm just like, no, miss me with that challenge. I want to challenge myself.
I can totally understand that, because I really want, as a person, as a personality trait of mine, I really want things to go the way. I'm very stubborn. I really want things to go the way I think are optimal.
Right. I mean, who doesn't think that they're right?
Especially in housing, if you build that, right? So I want things to look good for me if I work on it. So I'm not half-assed when it comes to that. I just want to, either it's full-blown amazing clutter or nothing. So
Right.
But sometimes reaching out to people, that it does matter. Sometimes reaching out to people, you know, friends of yours who you know would love their place decorated, just asking them, as you said, no, not everyone has those friends, or like maybe you already decorated for all of your friends, right?
Right. And Ashton points out, when a client hires you, don't you think that they should hire for your style, or are they just hiring for the sake of hiring someone?
Okay, forget what I was about to say. We're gonna discuss this right now, because this is this is such an important point that I wanted to make for a long time. So imagine hiring a person like Ashton, very popular with her with her vintage
Shabby
style, right?
chic. Yeah.
Yeah, shabby chic, exactly. And then, hello, Ashton Bright, can you copy this modern build for me? Thank you very much. What kind of? I just don't get that attitude. You're not hiring this person for what they are capable of. You're hiring them because you know that they can do the glitches. And couldn't you just do it yourself? Just learn it if you want something to be copied. You don't commit. I'm gonna say this straight up. I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. If you commission someone to copy one build 1-to-1, you are doing something completely wrong. Just do it yourself. It's not. They're not worth your time. The commissioners are better at working at something that they enjoy and that is unique to their style, instead of doing something modern which everyone else has. Please consider all of that.
Div.
Oh god, here it comes.
Learn. People
learn
do
from
learn
style.
from copying one-to-one of another designer, but as a commissioner, if you are considering commissioning a designer and you're asking someone to copy one for one, no exceptions, please realize that you are really limiting their growth, because if they come up with an idea
Yes.
while they are copying one for one and they think that they can improve on it and do something really cool, but they feel limited because you said that they only wanted it one for one, then you're possibly missing out on something really cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but as
Almost
Ashen
reminds me.
says, if you're a brand new designer and you don't have a style yet, copying one for one is really good way to learn. But don't limit yourself. If like I said, if you think of something as you're like lofting one partition at a time and you're like, ooh, but what if I did this? Try it. Try it. I
Yeah,
mean, if nothing else,
experimenting
you
is the
can
most
tear it
important.
down later and you're at least doing it on the commissioner's dime.
Yeah, especially because if you are just thinking about all the things that you could do, but knowing that this person specifically asked for something else, I just write it down personally in my notes to know, like, oh, this could be a great shrine that I can build later on, but not in this build. I'm just gonna mark it for later. But then I'm trying to convince the person if they might consider having that around, correct? Just being very transparent both ways, like as a designer and as a person who commissions the designer, is very important for the growth of the designer himself. If you are
Yeah.
commissioning someone, you want to, how do I put this? Would you like a copied build one-to-one the designer will not share because it's just a copied build and nothing they consider their own work? Or would you rather like something unique that the designer is proud of, they grew from the experience, and potentially they will share, people will come to visit and know
Yeah.
the place, people will come for roleplay or something like that. And this also goes into the sharing and exposure aspect of Twitter, for example, where I gotta be honest, I'm not, if I work on a very limited build at the moment, it looks good in my opinion, but I don't feel like I've grew from it, and I will not feature it as a commission I have worked on because of that specific reason, because I was very limited in the choices I was given.
Okay, let's talk about that, because I have had multiple designers, not even like new designers, big name designers, tell me, I just finished this build, will you come put an eyeball on it? I just don't think I like it. But you know, and I asked them, but does the client like it? And they said, yeah, they paid me. They're happy with it, but I don't know if I'm taking screenshots wrong or what, but I just don't think it looks good. And so I come and I went and I took screenshots and I was showing them the screenshots that I took, and they were like, yeah, it's kind of shit, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's not your best work. And
Yeah.
they're like, I don't want to put this in my portfolio. And I said, that's okay. You don't have to put every single house in your portfolio. If you're getting commissioned work, you know, you're making commissioned work, the only thing that matters is that the client is happy. You don't necessarily have to document it. As Ashton says, it's okay not to document everything. You don't have to take pictures and put it in your portfolio, share it on your Twitter, get your exposure, you know. You don't have to. If they just wanted a nice house built for them and they want it the way that they want it, you don't have to knock it out of the park every time and make a viral post out of it. If you're getting, if both parties are happy, you got your gil, or however you're getting paid, they got their house that they love, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the relationship, right? As a commissioner and a designer.
I think that also depends on the kind of person you are as a designer, because
right.
It
depends on your personality as a designer, yes.
Yeah, and if I would love to do what you said, right? But it's not gonna eliminate that feeling of feeling absolute shit. It's gonna like, you've put in work, you've torn down designs, you like for example, I built an entire fountain. I think I told you guys, right? I built an entire fountain in an atrium for a large house. I glitched a lot. I glitched like 4 pillars, multiple overgrown items.
It was a beautiful fountain. It was a gorgeous focal point.
Exactly. I really, really enjoyed that. But of course, because the first opinion was nice, but then people kept saying, oh, I don't want the fountain there, and you will have to tear it down. And if you finish that work and you will consider something that, of course, you will have a design for future maybe, like you will know, okay, I experimented, I can write it down, I can keep this for later, but it will still feel shit that someone didn't consider it being nice, because, of course, it really depends what kind of designer you are, because no matter how much work you put into something, it can still look pretty bad. But the feeling not to be enough for the person that hired you is weird. It's a very weird situation.
It's a feeling of rejection, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I hate this. This is also one of the reasons why I don't like doing commissions, because if I feel like being creative and having something that I as a designer like, right? And other people also say, professional designers say this is nice, but I have to tear it down because, as you said, it only matters.
Suit the layman's taste.
Yeah, it has to suit them, and it feels bad. It really feels bad.
Yeah,
and I don't know what to do against that, to be honest. Like, I can't even tell you guys how to work with that if that happens to you, because I know that a German friend who started out with housing, really, he got a commission. He was new, of course, but he really liked doing something. And in my opinion, it was great too. But the person who commissioned it didn't like it because it was in a different color theme or something. It was a complete stupid reason, but he had to tear it down, and I could not. It was hard to cheer him up because I didn't know what to say. I don't know what to say to someone in that situation.
I mean, our negative experiences definitely affect they shape who we are as people and designers, and, you know, either you take what they say to heart and you change your style to fit that sort of commission work, and maybe you get more commission work from it because those types of people are the ones who hire, or you decide that that's not for you, which is kind of the way that you went, Div. You decided that commissions weren't for you, and you just wanted to, as Hashin says, spread your freak creative wings and let yourself fly, and that's how you want to design. You want to build for the pure joy of creativity. You do not want to be constrained by the commissioner's desires.
Exactly.
And those are two totally different camps, and some people don't mind that, and some people really do.
Yeah, sometimes I was thinking when I first picked up a commission, like this commission I work now, the one I talked about, it's like, do I really want to do this? They hired me for their love for my detailed small builds, but they hired me for large. So then I think, like, is it gonna work out? And then after I accepted the commission, I was like, of course that's gonna work out, right? Keep it open, use the space. You can block off the basement, but please keep everything else open. But my style is not like that, and I felt so weird about it. I loved experimenting, and I can work with large designs. As we talked about with Surprise before, if you have a large open area, you will have to need details in the wall and the ground and stuff like that. But then the person who commissioned you tells you what they want in the house, and then it's gonna be shit all over. Like, your entire plan is, even if you have a nice large plan, even though you're not used to it, they're gonna shit all over it with their custom wishes, especially in FCs with multiple people trying to come to a consensus.
Right. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of different opinions, and they're all being bombarded at you, and you're expected to make something out of it. I do want to read what Ashen is unable to say because for some reason her mic's not working. I think the general consensus is that when you're establishing yourself as a designer, even at a high level, I think it's perfectly okay to copy, but it's also great if you can take someone else's work and put your own style and twist to it. Yes, absolutely, definitely, because then it becomes something new once you put your own style and twist on it, and that's awesome, right? You're creating. You're literally a content creator.
Sorry, I was just cut off for a second because there's a walkthrough.
There's
correct?
a what?
Oh, we still have a walkthrough that we have
Oh,
to
yes!
consider.
Yes, we actually do.
Because Ashley mentioned that it's gonna be daytime soon. Still have to get there.
Okay, yes, let's do that. I mean, yeah, we'll get the Ashen's gonna post the address to the walkthrough that we're going to be viewing today. Who's Ashen? Ashen's always behind it. Ashen owns HGXIV. Yeah, just we're heading over to Genova on Aether, and yeah, this is the house that was in our walkthrough request in Discord. Goblet, Ward 5, Plot 57. And yeah, hi Misha. We were just talking about growing yourself as a commissionable designer and best places to do portfolios and the trend of using personal discords as portfolios not being the best way to establish yourself necessarily, not being the best way to get exposure, but it's certainly a very handy, free, organizable tool to dump pictures.
Oh yeah, definitely. I really highly recommend to check out what we talked about because it was it was a lot we touched upon.
We had a very rambling conversation, but yeah, the VOD will be up afterward for sure.
Okay, so it was Word. Let me see.
And y'all, hold on. Let me get the link to our YouTube because the VODs only stick around for so many days, but we do upload them to our YouTube channel where you can always view them, including not just the podcasts themselves, but Ashen is a doll, and even after we go through the walkthroughs on podcasts, Ashen will go through and do a very nice professional video walkthrough of the walkthroughs that we did on podcasts, but without all of our blabbering and, Lalafels jumping around and Div's Row getting naked in the spa.
Hey, this time I'm not a naked rogue this time.
Oh, okay.
But also, Ashen's videos are so important because in screenshots you never get the same feeling as you are walking through a house yourself. Sometimes builds, in my opinion, are better if you visit them themselves, and if you don't have the option to visit, you should definitely check out videos because it's such a different feeling you get from all the angles you get as a person who is inside the house. Especially,
I think totally. I mean, we've talked about this. Houses are meant to be. They are meant to have people inside them. They're not just meant to be viewed from a picture. You wanna get inside the house and view it from inside because there's all kinds of there's lots of different angles. Things are different. There's a whole different atmosphere to being inside of it, and the next best thing, of course, is a video. So Ashen is so awesome in providing those with a very professional, just a touch of reshade, just to clean it up a little, and very professional walkthrough. And she even does it with the game music on. So if you have picked a certain playlist for your house, then that will also be featured in the video. It's very nice. I like it. She's done a couple for my houses, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah. I think showing off our personal houses, especially if you people behind a YouTube channel, is something very nice for people to see. They will get to know how we build, for example, if they never watch a podcast or something like that. You will get behind the scenes basically for the creators of the channel, or in this case, HGXIV. Okay, I'm almost there. It's still nighttime.
Don't forget to switch the, the screen.
Alright. Oh, sadly we can't hear Ashen still.
I know.
I wonder if we can hear her in-game sound. But it's probably her mic only, so. 4, 5. Oh yeah, you remember guys, if you guys want to join us on a little tour, we guys posted the link in it's Goblet Word 5, Plot 57 on Genova, on the, was it the Ether data center?
Yes, Ether.
So yeah, okay, perfect. That means you guys can easily join us. Okay, hang on, 7.
Ooh, the owner is there.
Oh, right. Okay. Repsy, do you want to touch upon what Ashton just said in our channel about Shay?
Oh. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. So I'm sure you all know, probably one of the most popular things that we do that a lot of people recognize, our brand from is the break. We post on Twitter, and they get shared around Facebook, all kinds of places. And we like to make these just to, show these cool furniture combinations and how they're made, what they're made of specifically. That's what we show, is what they're made of. We do not really go into the process behind them, but we talked with Shay Cloudbank. She does a lot of really good housing tutorial videos. She's the one who really brought attention, I guess, to the Loft Anything glitch. Her and Mercy helped translate. Gosh, I forget what the person's name was, the Japanese person who shared it first on Twitter. But Mercy helped translate that, and Shay made it into a really nice guide, and oh my goodness, it has taken off since. Like, we love the Loft Anything glitch. So Shay has decided to, or agreed to, take on some of our break it downs and make little tutorials on the process behind putting them together, not just the items. Because sometimes, Ash and Div and I probably take for granted the very in-depth knowledge of every single housing item in the game,
Yeah,
and every single glitch. We know all of the housing glitches pretty well. We maybe don't know the outside ones as well as we ought to, but most of us don't really. The three of us don't really care so much about exteriors as
Yeah.
some people do. But there are some neat outdoor housing glitches that Shay also covers, and so follow Shay Cloudbank on YouTube so that you can start seeing some of those as well. We will of course be sharing them from HGXIV, but it's just really cool working with other people in the community, trying to bring more accessibility of all of this stuff to everyone. We want everyone to be able to learn, and be able to. Sorry, I'm reading something. I'm in a main scenario right now, and I'm reading Discord and also trying to talk. It's a little difficult. Okay, yeah, but we want to bring accessibility for housing to everyone. We want everyone to be able to put together. We don't want anyone to be confused or look at our breakdowns and be like, well, that's impossible. Like, there's no way you could do that. And, well, yeah, there is. We did it. But this is how. Shay's going to show you how. I don't want to talk about it, Ashen. Let me grab the YouTube link.
I already got it. I already posted it in the Twitch Discord.
For HGXIV?
Oh, for Shay in this case,
No,
because we
yeah,
talked about
I didn't grab the HGXIV YouTube yet.
Oh,
But
okay.
everyone, Div has graciously volunteered to grab the HGXIV YouTube link and share it in chat.
Yes, of
for
course,
everyone to
of
go
course,
follow.
of course,
Thank you,
yes.
Div. You are so kind to volunteer. And
There we go.
yes, I do want the tomestones of philosophy. I need a Pegasus, because you will not catch me in diadem, whatever it's called. Old Eureka.
Also, something I want to mention, as you said, some people still to this day ask us about certain parts of our BID series. For example, I think there have been many questions about Ash's bed, and while we listed the items, people still don't quite understand the process behind it. So making it easier accessible to you guys is something we are really looking to in cooperation with Shay, because we know that some of you guys might be limited because you don't have a ground floor that you can float things through. But sometimes there are very good alternatives, and we are always open if you have questions for us. In our Discord, we have an Ask Us channel where you can just immediately ask us how something was built. Of course, repeating ourselves because of uncertain builds especially, it's gonna get a little bit annoying. So having something like Shay's work helping us out too, it's gonna be both amazing for us and for you guys.
It is super handy being able to just link Shay's guides. Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's already
remember,
happening like that.
trying to explain things like back when I first started housing, and like Facebook was the only outlet I knew, and I like trying to explain things in Facebook comments of like how I did this glitch or whatever, like typing out an entire wall of text, and it's so much easier to just link a video. Oh my goodness.
Basically, yeah. Oh, you mean who this French fry is?
French fry.
I wonder who French fry is.
And we are waiting for daylight. To answer your question, Ashen in chat asking a question of the two hosts who can talk. Am I doing a roulette right now? Yes, I am. I am in a main scenario roulette, also known as Castrum Meridian. How do you say this? Meridianum? Yeah. That's all you get in main scenario roulette these days, because people think it's the best way to farm the Moogle.
I don't get why you are doing this to yourself in the first place.
What? 4 minutes? Tell me it takes 4 minutes. I'm waiting for Sid for like 4 minutes.
Yeah, but why do you spend your time doing that? Because of it.
XP and tombstones.
Oh god,
AFK.
Time before it. Okay, yeah, understandable. To be honest, have a nice day. Okay, so I think we. Oh, it only takes 5 minutes to finish and get your mock stones. I'll find it and I'll hook you up.
Oh, I don't have blue leveled. So.
Wow. How can you not pick up this very fun and content-filled job? Oh my god.
Well, you see, I'm kind of busy with commissions.
Oh my god, both art and I think I remember you talking.
Yes, my real life commissions, I legitimately had one of my vendors come to my house and be like, "Are you all right? I haven't gotten a painting from you in weeks." I'm like, "Yeah, fine." Just had some other things come up. Video game commissions.
Wow. but I totally get what you mean. It's I just didn't touch many, like both of the commissions I'm working on right now. I haven't touched for a while because of somewhat of a creative block, to be honest. Like it happens. This will happen a lot for people who build a lot of housing. Like some days you will sit from, I don't know, 12 p.m. to 5 a.m. through the night until the sun rises just to finish this build you are so passionate about. And sometimes you log in, you see what you have.
You. Sorry.
Okay, I'm just gonna speak from my experience, okay? Sometimes
I go to bed at 9 p.m. every night.
Oh god, I can't. Yeah, sorry, I can't do that. I just look at the build, and especially in commissions, I just look at it and I know what I have to do, and I'm just like logging off immediately and 2 hours.
Oh, miss me with this. You just sit there staring at it. You're like,
Yeah, like I was like yesterday in the evening. I was like trying to start on a bedroom I was requested about. And then I was just ending up changing my game into the German version and going through the entire Dark Knight questline to get all the differences. Hey, it was a lot of fun. And hey, listen, I got new lore about Dark Knight. This is more important.
I gave you one of my commissions. My reputation is hinging on you finishing this commission.
I mean, how much time did you spend on it?
Before
Are we gonna
that, we're gonna talk like 6 months. I don't know if any of y'all remember me just like whining in FD Discord about this library that I have to do, this library commission that I've been trying to do, this library commission that I still haven't finished. Yes, that library commission is still not done, and I gave it to Dan.
Yeah, basically, this is what happened. And I understand how you struggle with that.
Yeah.
But hey, it's something very unique. It's something I've never done before, and in my opinion, will look amazing. I already did a few things that I really enjoy looking at.
Yeah.
And it's not all
really cool stuff that's gonna be amazing once he is
it's
ready
not all
to show it
dark.
off.
It's not all dark. It's not brown. It's all white.
Not
maybe a bit
cluttered.
gray. Not cluttered. It's gonna be
Div
very
is coming
different
out
approach.
of that box. Hey, is
I-
this the same plot that I have? No.
I think
Yes. I think it is.
Or is it? Oh, do we have daytime now, actually?
Oh, it's the same as yours. I see.
Oh yeah, it's about to be daytime. It's
We are
5:30 now.
seconds away.
So yeah, basically, sometimes you're gonna work on commissions, especially depending on a large size or not. Whether or not you're gonna finish in a week, or whether or not you're gonna finish in 6 months. This kid's or not even finish.
Yeah, I mean, artist block is real. It is
Yeah,
a
that's
real
true.
Problem.
For
Ooh, we
everyone.
have a
but-
hedge maze. I think that the outdoors are amazing when viewed at night because then you get to see the use of lamps that people use outside.
Alright, even though the lamps are part of the little retainer part thingy here, right? If I remember
That and the
correctly?
tea tables, yep, they're
Oh, God.
included, so that's
Also,
really economical.
since we can't rely on Ashen talking about the interior, I will have to rely on you to talk me about it.
What? You have
Because
to look at it.
I mean, yeah, but you will also have to look at it. So just send
I'm-
out here in
I'm
the
still in Castro.
So yeah, the garden looks really nice. I like it actually.
So this is a goblet house, so that's an actual goblet exterior, right? With the
I think it's a
lion
merchant.
head.
Wasn't it a merchant outside? I'm not entirely sure. I already forgot. My attention span is very small.
I really like those knockers. Sorry.
Whoa,
Sorry. But yeah, those lion head knockers are really cool. Okay. So, first thing we're met with here looks to be an establishment, like a cafe.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a
I see
meeting
a
place.
pastry rack. Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely looks to be some sort of restaurant. Okay, we have a bar with some food, a pastry rack on a counter, a silphic counter, or table, I guess that's a dining table, and we have a stage, undyed, brown stage in the corner.
Is that undyed?
Yes, that is undyed.
I love how the lighting level can confuse you if depending on the colors of things.
Yeah, that's true, but it honestly, as I'm looking at this house, most of the items appear
I
to be
was
undyed.
about to say that actually because a lot of items in this build are NPC items that are non-dyeable items like this
Zepla,
counter.
thank you for the raid. Oh my goodness. Hello,
Oh,
everyone.
boy. Oh god. Thank you so much, Zepla.
Zepla and everyone who came from Zepla's channel, welcome. We are currently doing a walkthrough of. I was actually going to ask earlier, how do I pronounce this name? Hodgin de Boots.
Quatgen.
Of Hodgin de Boots' house. They had requested a walkthrough on our Discord, and we are currently checking it out. So, and by checking it out, I mean Ashen is there checking it out, and Div and I are being degenerates.
Basically.
So what we have determined thus far is that this is a cafe, this is an establishment with food, someone behind the bar to serve food, I guess, that's the maid, and performance area in the corner, probably have like a bard doing performance up there playing for your patrons. We do have, I love, by the way, that there are uniform foods. It does give some sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not really professional, but like it's an actual establishment that would have a certain set of something on the food. Like that's their, I don't know, appetizer that they serve to everyone, these cookies and stuff.
What I really like about this build.
Yeah, thank you, Ashen. Let me say establishment one
Oh.
more time.
What I really like about this is it's really it has very open parts, but it also has some nicely detailed parts with Sage and with the tables too. What if Ashen would come back instead of going all the way
Oh,
down?
I like the basement. Wait, but we're not
It's
just
fine,
talking
Ashen.
about the upstairs.
Yeah, I was like, I just wanted to point out that I really like the lighting of the pastry part here because it's we talked about this in one of the past podcasts where we love a hidden lighting, especially for something like that, like a display setting. Having a hidden lighting which is not visible to the eye, it's just something that adds a lot, especially because it really shines onto the wall behind it. It's not just a random place, like it's not just in the middle of a room. It's against the wall, and the light against the wall really brings out the breaks on the wall too.
And it draws attention to what is actually the purpose here, which is the pastries inside. So the light is actually inside of it, definitely highlighting the fact that this is, these are pastries for sale. That's what it's about.
Yeah, unlike the other parts, for example. Because there's this build, for example, I think this is the only custom light on the first floor, right?
On this first floor, yeah, I'm not seeing any other lamps. There's the lamp there on that wall showing, it's not lit currently, but that would be the stage to light up that performance area. We do have some windows to provide extra light, but I would say that it does look a little dim. Possibly, and I know we still have the rest of the house to look at, but possibly put some lighting on the tables, like lamps on each table to try to give some more, just mood. You want some aesthetic there. They're sitting in it is kind of a moody area. It's kind of bright, but you're trying to set a tone with the music and having a performer up there, so why not set some tone with lighting as well?
Yeah, I was about to say that too. It's very dim in the other areas, but if you use custom...
to save it, that's why I stole it.
And having something, especially in this case, I know we still have this basement, but just to get it right off the bat, having the same table with the same food item repeating itself 3 times around the stage is nothing you really want to try to go for, because even the tilts of it being perfectly centered with a grid snap, it's just gonna look very repeatable. It's not gonna draw attention to like custom features of a build. So try to if you use the same tables and the same chairs, that's fine. That goes for every establishment. No establishment, very rarely the establishments have different set of furniture, but you definitely want to have some variety in the food you have an establishment if you use it. In my opinion.
I really want to talk, but my dog is going crazy for whatever reason.
Okay, let's first.
Jesse.
Okay, take care of Jesse. We'll just go look at for now.
Well, I actually wanted to say the opposite. Like, I think it lends credibility when you use, like you said, a restaurant would have the same chairs and tables throughout, generally, unless you're trying to go for like a quirky look where you would have different chairs at every table. But I think it lends credibility. I like when people use more than one of the same item. That's to say, I don't like when people use like one of each item throughout the house. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like using a different item for the sake of using a different item. I do like the purpose of having something uniform. I like that. I think that's a very good almost point. A veteran move. That makes it your house have more of a credibility to it. Your establishment have more credibility to it. Okay, this basement, very moody. Lamps everywhere. This is what I like to see. This is a good atmosphere. This is definitely like a lounge feel, more so than the cafe upstairs.
Yeah, it feels very different from the upstairs, especially because, as we touched upon, you used many different light sources here. You used a floor that is very interesting, because have you guys seen anyone use this before? I've never
monochrome gold saucer one.
God, you even know the name.
I mean, it's what, like the MGP, I don't know.
I think for this bar it works up pretty well. I like this bar setting. I know this is very modern too, but which is being used a lot in new bars today. Having the bar surrounded in the middle of a room, and with the entire surface area being surrounding the barkeeper. I think this is a really cool style that people should explore more, especially with bars, because we have the usual bar against the wall with all the nice drinks and cocktails and that kind of style. But this is something very nice and unique. I think people should build more of that, and I really like the take on it that Hoyen, I think that's how you pronounce her name, said. Built here.
Yeah, so the center, and this is clearly like a gambling area. This is set up for Triple Triad. It's meant to be a focal point. I have seen something not exactly like this, but I've seen something that I would almost recommend you build upon, which is having something above it, something to break it up a little, like having shelves or some of the mounted cupboards up there to mirror this like square that you've made out of the counters, but above it, and then with lighting. I think that would really make that pop and make the atmosphere feel even more like a lounge, because it would give you some interest above. Right now, the lounge, very recognizable for what it is, but it's a little flat almost. Like you have the loft area, but it almost doesn't serve a purpose except as, you know, some Zabuton cushion seating area. But I think that you could get that look a little more polished if you were to throw something boxy above your gambling counter there, and put some lights above, like some pendant lights, or some, if you can get your hands on the, you know, ever sought after snowman butts, that might look cool, you know.
Yeah, and as I said, as we mentioned it before, don't be afraid to, as Raps also just said, don't be afraid to build vertically, because we know how people love to spread detail onto the floor, but they sometimes don't consider, they consider the walls, but they don't consider the middle of the room to be filled in the vertical height. And as I said, in the real life world equivalent to this kind of bar style, you will always see the bars, and you will always see the drinks or the shelves hanging from the top, and the glasses and stuff like that. So I think Rhapsody's point is very, very good, because if you can always use real life inspiration to rebuild it in game and help you to understand how something would feel more immersive, more realistic in this case too, and it would add to your build a lot, in my opinion, as Rhapsody already explained.
The upside down, the cups from Eureka.
Yeah, this is what I meant.
Would look amazing hanging from like an overhead, you know, cupboarding. We have a question in chat from Featherless. Does the data center really matter between the two NA data centers? Is one dead? Like in terms of housing?
In terms of housing, I know that some are more dead than others, but those are like specific servers and not data centers.
We actually have 3 data centers for NA.
Primal
Aether is currently Aether is currently full to the brim. Like, due to the purge yesterday, there are smalls available throughout Aether. I think there might have been one large. There's a rumor. One large on some server on Aether came up, possibly maybe yesterday. A couple of mediums, large sprinkling of smalls on Aether. Housing seems to be pretty full on Aether, just because Aether has been getting a large influx of players throughout. Primal seems to have a decent, like, kind of similar, that some houses opened up over there. Crystal seems to be the new data center, seems to be the place. If you really want to grab a house, Crystal's probably your best bet. I think on Marlboro there were 2 larges that came open in the purge yesterday. Oh, yeah, I mean in general, maybe not the best place to ask that, just because we are focusing on housing the most here.
Okay, so
anyway, back to the house.
Yeah, back to our first. So in this area here behind the bar, where we have this little Zabuton cushion area where you can just meet up, you have like area. So the thing that I mentioned a lot in previous builds, lofts, it's already starting at the very bottom. Having something beneath the lofted area is nice because it fills out that it doesn't feel empty. In this case, it would be the FC chest and the row. But don't have a loft for the sake of having a loft. This is the major problem that a lot of people have when they look at the loft and the stairs, because it's not something that you have to just to have it. You will need supports. Like you see how this corner just floats. It could work in real life, correct? But it doesn't seem supported, and the area below it seems so sparse. Even though you have the row and the FC chest there, it still seems very unused.
Like an afterthought.
Yeah, it seems like an afterthought. Like you wanted a loft, smoking area in
That's
this case.
something to play with. You know, you saw the new lofts, you wanted to play with it. You're like, I want a loft in my house. Absolutely. Execution though, yeah, you have like a little smoking area up there, but rather than what you have up there, 4 Zabuton cushions, we can, at HGXIV, we have a lot of resources to be able to show you the glitch guides, and you could just as easily use 2 chairs instead of 3 Zabuton cushions, or you know, 2 chairs and a table instead of the 3 Zabuton cushions, just to replace item count for item count, and then have your smoking stuff on the table, and then it feels a little bit more like a smoking lounge rather than cushions, because the rest of the house does not use Oriental style seating. It uses bar stools and Oasis armchairs, Oasis chairs upstairs, so the Oriental Zabuton cushion seating does not seem to fit. I know it's a little bit easier to just throw it up there because it's a tabletop.
Yeah.
But if you threw 2 armchairs, Oasis armchairs even, to match the style, yeah, you could absolutely throw those up there and fit the style a little bit more with a very simple loft anything glitch, which, you know, we love, clearly. But it's really not that hard, and I think it would only take you a couple of minutes to really get it down when we show you the video, right?
Hoyen said that he never considered that, he never realized that he could put chairs on the loft, so it's something new for them. So what we have to tell you is, you can put any single ground item that exists in this game, you can loft it up, no matter the height, you can get it up there. So you could have even the gold saucer thing you could have up there. Of course, some items. What do you want? Something wrong?
Nothing. Never mind. Just talk about getting it up there.
Every single time I met.
I'm sorry. It just
can...
sounds so funny because you don't recognize it as a phrase.
I'm so sorry.
I love it. Okay, anyway, English is also. Sorry about that. I just love poking fun at him.
What I wanted to say is basically some items are easier to, like, getting the chairs lofted onto the loft is not that hard as, for example, a rectangular partition wall. But what I wanted to mention before, when we talked about, instead of having the afterthought of having items below the loft, just for the sake of it, for example, in this case, you could have a smoking area above the actual bar area, because you would fill up the area beneath it, you would have the area above it, and it would be all cluttered, it would be filled with detail, and you could use the corner for something else. It wouldn't feel, and it would be supported by the pillar in the corner there too, right? So it wouldn't feel like something that you've put in just to have it, but it would feel like something with a purpose, exactly. So stuff like that is very important when it comes to designing. And as we said, in the future, just consider the fact that everything can be lofted, basically. Okay, so, but we still have a seating area and stuff like that. And again, this is something that we talked about. You don't seem to dye things. So I don't see the top parts here being dyed off a bar counter. I don't see the manor stuff being dyed, not the the corner surfaces. Is there a reason for that? Because sometimes the colors don't work together that well, even though they could. I know some items
dye can make or break a build. I mean, I would highly recommend, like what Div is saying, playing with different dyes and maybe not necessarily going with the all red. Try, I mean, do you have a preference for color? You could try dyeing things to match a little bit better. A dark build would feel very moody in here. The mole brown dye tends to match your choice of armchair very well. So if you use the mole brown on like the counters there, or the loft, or the manor fireplace, you would be able to bring out more of that color, make it look more like a custom build. I love using that term. I use it all the time, custom build, because then it doesn't look like you threw a bunch of stuff together that you just bought at IKEA. You had it custom made and built specifically for your establishment you know, this is they're all built to match, and you know, it's just it's fun. It's fun to play with different dyes and see what you like.
I think in this build specifically, because of a break wall and all the other things, it works well. But also something that Lulu in our Twitch had pointed out is a very good orientation. She says that she likes to think of in trio for colors, to have the main color, the secondary color, and the accent color. That's a great advice, in my opinion, because having those three orientation colors and working with them, especially if you have like an NPC, for example, even in my opinion, an NPC is important to match the entire theme. You will need to have accent colors, you will need to have the main color theme, but you don't want the builds to be one single color, especially when it comes to different materials. Like we have wood, we have stone, and sometimes it doesn't work together if two materials are the same color. Sometimes you just want to have the thing pop out. And in this case, for example, the bar, having the bar in a darker color would help immensely to point it out inside the build. It would fit in perfectly, but not stand out too much compared to the little red details on the. But yeah, playing off a texture of the break is, it makes it feel a lot cozier, especially with the lighting level. Sorry.
Yeah, so I mean, I am definitely enjoying the atmosphere of the lounge. I absolutely can see what you're going for the cafe upstairs, and I think that it. Hi, Lulu. You are gonna love it here. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the follow, Lulu.
Love your comments in chat. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the cafe upstairs I think could be executed a little bit better. You have an amazing theme downstairs. It doesn't quite flow with upstairs, and I think that they're meant to be a little bit different like that. You have a kind of a bright area upstairs with cute windows. I think you could, again, apply dyes upstairs to try to bring out more of that light, airy cafe feeling that you're trying for up here. The stage being dyed a lighter color, or the windows, the imitation shuttered windows, even your Oasis bench. I mean, that's just a pop of blue over there that doesn't really make sense with the rest of it, but
yeah, consider using other chairs
very easily if you were to just dye it another color.
Yeah, using furniture, I don't think that using furniture that you can't dye is like a big no if the furniture doesn't belong into your color palette, if you know what I mean. Like this Oasis corner, like you said, consider using is it just called corner table, like corner desk or something? Corner counter, right? Using that, it's the same shape, but you can dye it and you can have things here. And you don't always have to rely on NPC items, because it looks like you looked through the NPC to see what items you could use in a build when you first did the upstairs. So consider looking up different websites like Final Fantasy XIV housing, where you can look at every single item in detail. You can also check the lodestone where you can get that item. And just in the future, we will also have item preview in Shadowbringers, which I think no one will talk about. I'm really looking forward to that, because you can basically select an item from a huge list, and you can see if it belongs inside your house, and you can only see it inside the workshop menu. And when you get out of it, it will not be there, of course. You have to fill in the spot, basically. And I think touching upon that is a great thing for you to look forward to too. But as long as you don't have Shadowbringers yet, it's just 20 days left, right? Just consider using outside sources to look up different items and combinations.
I did throw the FF14 housing link into chat. Yes, that is a really helpful website that has almost all of the items. I don't think they've updated too much, but yeah. Thank you so much, Hajin, for letting us walk through your house. Thank you for inviting us. It was really, really nice, and I can definitely see what you're aiming for here, and I saw a couple ways that I think you could improve, but I love that you brought it to us and that we got to walk through it and show it on stream. Very, very happy to be able to do that for anyone who wants us to come and ooh and ah and possibly give some criticisms, but, nice criticisms. That we just want everyone to enjoy housing and, try to improve.
especially
Everyone.
because Hodgin
ourselves.
said, even Hodgin said he doesn't know quite all of the glitches, but we have lots of different resources. You can always ask us directly in our Discord channel, so feel free to just drop in, ask us if you have any questions, because we basically know everything about what there is to
try
housing.
to. We really do try to make sure that we're up on all of the glitches and everything that's new and coming out, all the new furnitures. We really try to keep that as our goal of knowing that, so that we can turn around and help anyone who would ask. So definitely, please join our Discord. Lots of resources there, including a link to our sister Discord, FD, which has tons of guides linked in there, absolute total package guide channel of all kinds of glitches, including Shay's videos on how to loft anything and her minimum height requirement spreadsheet. The most handy thing in the world. You absolutely must have it. Sorry, Lulu, we don't have that set up yet, but we do have it linked below. We're kind of amateurs at this. But
yeah, we are.
I really need to say this, really appreciate everyone who stuck around from Zepla's raid. That was awesome. Thank you, Zepla. Thank you, everyone who, was able to discover us and chat with us for a little bit. We're going to be wrapping it up here, but awesome talking to y'all.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Well, from you too. Thank you, Zepla.
And I know Ashen says thank you too, even though she, her mic cut out midstream. So that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But we'll have that fixed for next week.
Thank you all, guys. We hope that some of you stick around our stream every Saturday.
We will, every Saturday, 5 o'clock Eastern. We will see you next time, and hope you enjoy the rest of your week and happy housing.
Have a nice weekend, guys. See you all.